So we hear you like software updates. Well, we put your PHP updates with your jQuery updates inside your WordPress updates. Let's talk about WordPress 5.6. What's up, everyone? This is Guyman Adams from Mid-City Digital, and in this video I want to talk about the latest version of WordPress that just came out, WordPress 5.6. This is an interesting update. It's part of it. It's the second in a three-part series of updates, really, but we'll get more into that in a little bit. Before we get too far, if you like this type of content, please be sure to subscribe to this channel, whichever platform you're watching it on, and leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions or ideas or whatever. Anything else you'd like to see in the future, that'd be awesome. And follow us on minds.com and on BitChute and Brighteon and Odyssey. We also started a Rumble channel, so rumble.com. You can search out Mid-City Digital there. Still trying to figure out how that platform works exactly, but seems pretty cool. So check all that out, and we'll have a little bit more of an update on Mid-City Digital itself towards the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. So anyways, WordPress 5.6 officially just came out just the other day. Around the WordPress community, there's been a lot of buzz about this, some kind of pros and cons about it, but I think mostly it's good in general. So anyway, let's take a look here. When you first upgrade from whatever previous version you had to 5.6, you'll get this welcome screen. And let's see, here it says, welcome to WordPress 5.6. This basically will give us kind of a general overview of what's going on with 5.6 and just kind of sum it up a little. 5.6 brings you countless ways to set your ideas free and bring them to life with a brand new default theme as your canvas, which the new theme is pretty cool actually. It supports an ever-growing collection of blocks as your brushes. Paint with words, pictures, sound, or rich embedded media. You got greater layout flexibility, more block patterns. This is something kind of interesting. In select themes, pre-configured block patterns make setting up standard pages on your site a breeze. Find the power of patterns to streamline your workflow or share some of that power with your clients and save yourself a few clicks. So that's kind of neat. Upload video captions directly in the block editor. That's also very cool. To help you add subtitles or captions to your videos, you can now upload them within your post or page. This makes it easier than ever to make your videos accessible for anyone who needs or prefers to use subtitles. That could be handy. That's pretty neat. And here we are. 2021 is here. So the 2021 theme is now available. And I gotta say, I think it's a way cooler starter theme as far as a default theme for WordPress than any of the previous ones that they've had, which were just horrible. Just aesthetically horrible, and it didn't really provide many examples in terms of sample content. It'd just have like one sample page and one sample post. This one includes a tiny bit more, so you can get a little bit better idea. So here it is. 2021 is a blank canvas for your ideas, and the block editor is the best brush. It is built for the block editor and packed with brand new block patterns, blah, 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 kind of stuff we already covered. So here's kind of a screenshot of what that looks like. And so that's kind of cool. We'll kind of check out a tiny bit of that here momentarily. I'm not going to go hardcore into the block editor or anything, but I'll just kind of poke around a little bit for you. And we also have a rainbow of soft pastels. Perfect for a new year. 2021 gives you a range of pre-selected color palettes in pastel, all of which meet AAA standards for contrast. You can also choose your own background color for the theme, and the theme chooses accessibility conscious text colors for you automatically. Need more flexibility than that? You can also choose your own color palette from the color picker. And they've also enabled a dark mode option, which is really cool. We'll kind of show that here in a little bit. Now, here's where things get a little weird. Improvements for everyone. Expanding auto updates. This is frustrating. I don't like auto updates. That's when things start to break because, the auto updates will only be okay when you're just going with the default theme and everything you're using is completely generic. So different people are going to be using different themes and different plugins. And when auto updates happen, a lot of times, maybe not most of the time, but a lot of times, that's when things break because there'll be some slight incompatibility in the code somewhere, and then you have to update everything. And if your theme isn't up to date with the latest version of WordPress, you'll start to see weird errors and stuff. And that's what we experienced with 5.5 when that update happened. So a little more on that coming up. So here it says, for years, only developers have been able to update WordPress automatically, but now you have that option right in your dashboard. If this is your first site, you have auto updates ready to go right now. Upgrading an existing site, no problem. Everything is the same as it was before. Not necessarily. So, this is the annoying part. If this is your very, very first WordPress website, it would probably be totally fine to start with 5.6, and you could experiment with the auto updates perhaps. But if you have like a previous version of WordPress already installed, auto updates is just going to be sketchy. Anyway, accessibility statement template. So they've addressed some accessibility issues. That's kind of its own topic in and of itself, really. And then they have these built-in patterns. Now here's the juicy stuff for developers. REST API authentication with application passwords. Thanks to the API's new application passwords authorization feature, third-party apps can connect to your site seamlessly and securely. This new REST API feature lets you see what apps are connecting to your site and control what they do. Now, currently, it doesn't look like this is going to apply to very many websites or very many applications, for that matter, that you would connect to your site. But this seems to be something they're just kind of moving towards, so they went ahead and built this feature in for future use. So I would keep an eye on this, maybe for things like Jetpack or for Managed WP or some of these other third-party services that might, in the future, end up kind of taking advantage of this, supposedly as an extra security layer. But truthfully, it's creating, for now, it's creating an additional attack surface for hackers. So this is something we're going to want to nip in the bud pretty quickly for the time being anyways. So a little more on that later. More PHP 8 support. 5.6 marks the first steps toward WordPress core support for PHP 8. Which is now is a great time to start planning how your WordPress product, services, and sites can support the latest PHP version. For more information, read the PHP developer note. So you could check that out if you wanted. PHP 8, I don't think is going to affect hardly anybody right now, at least not for a while. Most websites, whether it's a WordPress site or not, are probably not going to be implementing PHP 8 like straight out, not quite yet, because every time there's a new update, you start finding more incompatibilities with other code and other plugins and widgets and stuff. So give this some time, but it is pretty smart that 5.6 went ahead and upgraded their own internal code within the WordPress core to be PHP 8 compatible. So that's, they're trying to future-proof this a little bit with both of these things. So that's kind of interesting. Now, similarly, jQuery. jQuery is where all the problems started back in 5.5 with breaking different themes and different plugins and stuff. I have a client specifically who the whole back end of the site just went totally weird when we updated to 5.5. There were buttons that didn't work and weird stuff like that, but apparently it's because, I didn't realize this until recently. Apparently WordPress had been using a really old, outdated version of jQuery within their own core. So it was like some way early version, and now it's been like 2 or 3 versions since then that they should have been using. So that's why websites all over the world were, using this outdated version of jQuery without even realizing it inside the WordPress core. And so when they suddenly decided to go ahead and update, it ended up breaking a lot of stuff. So this is something for theme developers and plugin developers to be conscious of moving forward. Updates to jQuery in WordPress take place across 3 releases: 5.5, as we mentioned, now 5.6, and 5.7, which I believe is supposed to be coming out around March of 2021. So be on the lookout for that. As we reach the midpoint of this process, run the update test plugin to check your sites for errors ahead of time. If you find issues with the way your site looks, e.g. a slider doesn't work, a button is stuck, that sort of thing, install the jQuery Migrate Helper plugin. So yeah, I use this on my client site as kind of a band-aid to fix things, and this does work, so at least for now. But it's only meant to be temporary. Ultimately, we are going to want to be completely updated for all kinds of different reasons, but it's just, a little bit of a hassle for now. So we got some growing pains we're going to have to deal with. So anyway, check the field guide for more. So if you click this link right here, this will take you over to this field guide. It has this completely irrelevant intro, and then it goes into the details about application passwords and auto update security, the block editor, blah, blah, blah. You can go read all the details on that if you like. Now, let's go back over here. So let's check out, let's just go to the front page right here. So I've got the new 2021 theme installed, and as you can see, one thing that it has is this dark mode option. I really dig that. That's pretty cool. I'm actually looking at adding a feature like that to the Mid-City Digital website fairly soon. I think dark mode is awesome. So that's pretty cool. And you can customize that here. It's got this, where you can, here's all their weird pastel colors they throw in here, of course you put in whatever you really want. And then it's got this dark mode support, turn it on or off, whichever you want. Most of the rest of this is pretty much all the same. Go ahead and hit publish and close that out. So this is kind of what it looks like, for the default theme. It gives you a lot more stuff to look at in terms of a demo for, if it's your very first WordPress site, that's, pretty helpful. All the previous ones, it was just empty. So, we can actually click on a sample about page to kind of get an idea, of what's going on here. There's just, one single sample blog. Let's go back over here to the home page. And so let's take a quick look here. Edit page, and here we go with the block editor. Welcome to the block editor, blah blah blah. You can read through all this stuff. They did make some improvements with the block editor. I'm not gonna lie, I'm honestly not a big fan of the block editor, otherwise known as Gutenberg. I mean, it's good for beginners. Again, if it's your very first website, your very first WordPress site. But you know, I don't know. It's a little strange to work with. I would think that you would want to actually, you know, if you're a little bit more advanced with this stuff, you'd probably want to use Divi or Elementor, or heck, even WP Bakery. I mean, I know a lot of people hate that one, but it's, you know, it's not the worst. But what's happening here, WordPress is definitely trying to slowly roll out their own full-blown page builder to compete with Divi and Elementor and all the rest of them. So that's obviously what's happening here. So they're little by little improving this, and it does seem to be a little bit stronger now. And you know, I think it's interesting. You got some little features like this where you can actually kind of overlap these images. You know, whatever images you put in here, you can move them up and down and, you know, align it different ways. So it's all starting to improve a little bit. They got this little spacer thing in here. That's kind of neat. So I don't know. I'm not entirely familiar with every little detail within this. Look, you got this overlap option. There's a default, pulls them apart. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to point that out. You know, you do have these different options for all of this, little color settings here. Change the columns. Wow, yeah. So it's improving. It's improving. It's not quite as bad as it was before. So anyways, let me get back out of here. I'm going to go ahead and leave. So I just wanted to kind of show that just real quick. That's what they're doing with their block editor. I would say install the classic editor if you want other options. I mean, it just seems to be a little bit easier for a lot of people to work with in kind of a traditional word processor kind of environment. But moving on. One thing they mentioned was about the application password. So for that, let's go have a look here under all users. This will be underneath your whatever users, if it's just you or if you have a team of, you know, authors, editors, contributors, and you could set these. So I've disabled this. Let's see. Let me go over here. So here's one thing with the application password. Install WordFence, because as I mentioned, it's going to be another attack surface, and what you're going to want to do, I believe it's under WordPress or WordFence. Let's see, firewall, all firewall options. So yeah, check this out. WordFence will automatically disable this new attack surface, this WordPress applications passwords, but you can, you know, uncheck that if you want to use it or if you want to experiment with it. You can save that, go back over here to users, and select whichever user. And so, you know, here you could go ahead and, you know, start setting this up if you wanted to. But again, this is a little bit more for advanced users, people who are experimenting, you know, connecting applications. So I wouldn't mess with this right now anyways, but go back over to your WordFence, go under firewall, and go under all firewall options, and underneath brute force protection, disable WordPress application passwords. That is probably the biggest security tip I can give you today is install WordFence and make sure that this is checked, at least for the time being, like I said. So let's see, moving on from there. So since this is such a new version of WordPress, and depending on, you know what version you're upgrading from, it could potentially cause some problems. I kind of want to touch on all this staging concept again. I mentioned it in a previous video. So To do staging, let's start with doing an initial installation. So let's say over here on one of my demo accounts. Now this will be very similar. Pretty much any web host that uses cPanel as their main backend control panel. You'll probably have some kind of a customer interface sort of like this. It might be completely rearranged, look way different, totally designed different, but you should see things like log into cPanel, log into webmail, change password, all this stuff. And you'll see all their other stuff, open support tickets and all this stuff. It just might be completely rearranged. This is how we've done it for the time being. And what you'll do, you'll go into your hosting account, and then you'll log into cPanel. So I wanted to demonstrate this because most web hosts are probably going to have 5.6 available by now. So chances are, if you've got cPanel as your backend control panel, you'll have Softaculous Apps Installer. So let's go to that. Don't worry about these other ones. I mean, we got so many upgrades going on. I mean, there's so many upgrades happening with WordPress and PHP and jQuery and all this stuff. We also have upgrades and different weird stuff going on the server end of upgrades. So, but we do have a few other options for you to access WordPress through your backend. But you could either go to the Softaculous Apps Installer or keep scrolling down, and you might see it, depending on how your cPanel is set up, you might see it spread out like this with all these options. Click on WordPress. And so this will be the simplest way to install WordPress. Tons of people use Softaculous to install without having to do it manually through FTP. It's just a heck of a lot easier. So let's go ahead and hit install now. And so here, yeah, we could go ahead and install 5.6 if we want to. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to select a previous version, 5.3.6. So we'll do that. You could put it in like a staging directory if you wanted to, but if it's your main site, we'll get to the staging in a minute. It's a much easier way to do it. But you want it to be on your main site, so you leave this directory empty. Put whatever site name you want there, whatever description you want. I'll put admin 25 for this one. Just do something other than admin. Hit this little key, make a strong password for yourself, always. Don't make it password, don't make it, my cute kitty cat 123 or anything stupid. Please don't do that, ever. Down here, I like to hit the classic installer. It gives you this option right out of the gates to do that. Under advanced options, go ahead and select this do not auto upgrade. That's pretty handy. You could try to experiment with, maybe minor versions only, like, between 5.5 and then 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, all that. But I'd say just don't do it. Just do it one at a time. And we'll do it through our staging here in a bit. So you got these upgrade options here. You can leave this as default. You could select one of these themes. Again, a lot of different web hosts will have something very similar set up. They probably even have some of these same themes available. But we're just going to leave it, let it go to the default theme. Let's hit install. And there you go. There's that. So from here, you could jump into your admin right here or go look at the site as it currently is. I'm going to open that in a new tab. So this, since it's a previous version of WordPress, it just uses the 2020 theme, which, like I mentioned, is horrible. It's ugly. It's super ugly. It only gives you this one sample page. So if you're just starting out, you'd be like, what am I doing? So let's go back over here. I'm going to close that. And here it goes ahead and gives you your admin link. So I'm going to also open that in a new tab. So here we go. And you can see here it's saying WordPress 5.6 is available. Okay. Well, let's go over here to updates. And you could go ahead and update that now and jump straight to it. But what I want to do, I want to go back over here. Let's go back over here to our Softaculous WordPress installations. Let me actually back out of this just to show you. So you could go back into your cPanel, starting from the beginning, and you'll see here. So here's this current installation we just did. I would suggest if you have a previous version of WordPress already up and running and everything's working fine and you're a little nervous, you don't want to break it just by jumping all the way up to 5.6, go ahead and do this staging thing. Click Create Staging right here. And then here, let's put staging as the subdirectory. So that way it's not going to be overriding anything or anything like that. Let's go ahead and put that as HTTPS. And let's hide this from search engine visibility. And you leave this blank so it'll keep all the same information. And you hit Create Staging. And then again, we can go over here to the admin, straight through there. Now here, with this staging, you can see the URL's different. So, it's in a subfolder, so you can test it and make sure that it's working properly before you actually push it live. So, we can see here like, oh man, I got all these themes that are outdated. I'll go ahead and update those. Turn to updates page. And then you can say, go ahead and say update now. Okay, and there we go. So, it just takes a couple of minutes for it to run through its whole thing, and there it is. Now that's updated. Now, pro tip, if you really want to stay ahead of the curve on this in the future, and this is something I'm surprised by myself that I haven't already done this in the past. I mean, I've been working with WordPress for a long time. I don't know why I've never done this. I guess because I've mainly been focused on the design side of things. So you could also add this particular plugin to check out the future beta versions that are coming out ahead of time before they're officially out. So go to your plugins and go to add new, and then type in WordPress beta tester. I think that's what it is. This is awesome. Install this and then click activate. And now you have your WordPress beta tester plugin. And then you can go to tools and go to beta testing. And by default, it's going to be selected on this point release, which is, the latest version. Look, they already have 5.6.1. Oh my God. You see, these updates never end. So, this is their latest stable version that they have available. However, if you want to really, just go ahead and jump ahead, click this bleeding edge option. This is the bleeding edge development code from Trunk, which may be unstable at times. Only use this if you really know what you're doing. Seriously. But if you're intermediate to advanced user, go for it. You could check it out and kind of see what's going on. See what it breaks. What plugins and what themes that you might be using that it might break. And again, only do this in your staging area. But then hit Save Changes. And then it'll open up these, so you could have the nightlies for the latest daily updates, the beta RC only, or the release candidates only. I would say just give me the nightlies. Save changes. And see, you can see at this point, you can begin to test this crazy alpha version of 5.7. So, I mean, if you really want to dive in head first and get your hands dirty with this, you could install this beta tester plugin and start checking it out a little bit. Because then when you go over here to your dashboard and go to updates, this is where I mean, it says an updated version's available, even though we're already on 5.6. We could go ahead and hit update now and start checking out 5.6.1 and 5.7 and just kind of see what happens. But I'm not going to do that here right now. I just wanted to let you know that plugins like this are available. So, you could get ahead of the game by, going, setting up a staging area. And, in your staging area, you could begin. That doesn't seem updated. Oh, I didn't run the full update. Let's run the full update real quick. Oh man. See, now we got 5.7 installed. So this is the kind of crazy stuff you can start to do. And, it'd be interesting to do this when you already have like a full site set up. You got a bunch of widgets and stuff going on and, full pages set up. And then set up your staging area and then go ahead and start checking out. Let's see what some of the future versions are doing in your staging area. I can't stress that enough. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a lot of testing like that myself coming up on both midcitydigital.com as well as several different client sites. Just trying to get ahead of the curve a little bit. So anyway, check that out. Speaking of all this, for Mid-City Digital, currently, because of all these updates, and because the holidays are creeping up, and things are always busy and weird this time of year, I'm going to go ahead and make this my last video for the year until sometime in January. And in the meantime, I'm going to be working on giving midcitydigital.com a complete facelift. Some of these updates between WordPress and between jQuery and PHP updates and and even server updates on the back end, it's kind of messed up a few little widgets and stuff here and there on the website. So thanks to one of the users or one of the viewers, one of the viewers out there gave me a heads up about some weird glitches that were happening, and it made me think, what, this is the perfect time. I'm just gonna kind of rebuild this site a little bit, and we're going to relaunch it in the new year. So now it's just this kind of a coming soon page, maintenance page that you'll see there at midcitydigital.com. Existing clients, you can log in right here. It'll take you over to the client area, and you can go ahead and log in and manage your accounts and all that still. So there's that, and then you can please follow us on Minds, follow us on BitChute, Brighteon, Odyssey, and I'm going to be doing more with email updates in 2021. So if you'd like to get a heads up, probably before anybody else, about what we're doing or what's coming next, go ahead and throw your email address in here. It'll send you an email to confirm. So it's like a little two-step thing. Just for confirmation purposes, make sure you're not just a bot. So it'll make sure you want to subscribe and then, confirm that, and you'll be on our email list, and we can keep you posted about future stuff coming up. I got a lot of big plans for this new year. I mean, this is the time of year we all start to think about, what's coming for next year? I'm going to do something better. I'm going to do something bigger. I'm going to, really pin things down the way I want, make some progress in more positive ways. So check that out. If you need to get in touch real quick, Minds is a good place to catch me. I post it over there like a couple of times a week. This is an excellent replacement for Facebook, so I highly recommend it for anybody. So check that out. You can subscribe to all of our video channels across all these platforms. And I guess that's going to do it for the time being. I guess until next year. Take care. See you again soon.